the Santa Cruz mission was the 12th mission founded August 28, 1791 by Father Fermin D. Lisbon. It's good. Welcome to Santa Cruz Mission State Historic Park. Today, the only original mission building remaining is the adobe that the Native American families built and lived in while they worked at the mission. It was called Neophyte Housing, and its 7 remaining rooms are a museum that show the changes that occurred in the Native people's lives when they came to the mission. Originally, only higher status mission workers with special skills lived in this building, with 1 room for each family. The rooms had 1 door, 1 window, a fire pit in the center of the room for cooking, and a loft under the room for storage. Today, you can go inside this museum to see how the different groups of people have lived while they were here. This display shows the seasons and the culture of the Native Americans. These rocks right here, the Native Americans used as fishing weights. And right here, a mortar and pestle were used to grind acorns and other seeds into flour. Right here, the small acorn, rich in protein and able to be stored, supported thousands of native people. To make them edible, the preparation of these nuts was complex and labor-intensive. And then right here, we have clam, mussel, and abalone shells. The ocean provided an abundant source of food, as well as shells for tools and beads. And then here's some shells. Mission Santa Cruz had livestock and crops. Missions often took a count or inventory of the livestock they were raising. Inventories are very important for understanding what work the people were doing, what they were selling or trading, and what they were eating. In 1806, 15 years after the mission was started, the mission livestock inventory included 2,400 cattle, 5,400 sheep, 120 pigs, 3,200 horses, and 92 mules. That's a lot of animals to feed and look after. The Padres introduced many new fruits, nuts, grains, herbs, flowers, and vegetables to the people of California. Some of the most popular new foods at missions were olives, oranges, beans, peppers, lemons, wheat, grapes, barley, oats, squash, corn, and watermelons. Missions measured many crops by fangas. In modern terms, a fanga would be about half a large 30-gallon garbage bag. In 1806, the mission crop inventory included 2,074 fangas of wheat, 680 fangas of corn, and 67 fangas of beans. This food had to feed almost 500 people that year. For most of the missions, if it was a dry year with little rain, the workers had very little to eat. They might be hungry for several months until the next crop harvest. When this happened, the Padres allowed them to gather food in the traditional ways of their people. Non-Indian residents whitewashed the walls and later hung layer upon layer of wallpaper. The 1989 earthquake left its marks on the adobe, cracking many walls. Burned bones, seeds, and shells from the fire pits showed that Indians lived and cooked in these rooms. This is what one of the rooms of the Native Americans might have looked like. Rebuilding. This room was falling apart when Philippi Armis bought it in 1850. When he rebuilt the upper part of this wall, he used these 2 salvage mission corridor posts as supports above the window he enlarged. Restorers used measurements from these spots to rebuild the mission corridor Armis had removed when he added a second story. The Bad Luck Mission. Santa Cruz Mission was known as the Bad Luck Mission, even while it was open because things went wrong so often. For example, when Hippolyte de Bouchard, a French pirate, attacked the nearby town of Monterey, the Padres of Santa Cruz Mission sent all the workers to Santa Clara Mission and asked the local people in the town of Brancefort to protect the mission. Instead of protecting it, the local people broke into the church and other buildings, took most of the valuables, stole cattle and horses, and burned several rooms. And the pirate never even showed up. Some other examples of the bad luck at Santa Cruz Mission. Their first buildings were destroyed by rain and floods. They had to move from their original site to higher ground. Their new site also had buildings destroyed by rain. They frequently don't have enough workers. The local townspeople stole horses and cattle. One of their priests was murdered. Natives who didn't like the mission ran away. A group of native people attacked the mission and burned buildings. Some years their crop died from lack of rain. Townspeople laid claims on some of their grazing land. Many of their workers died of the new diseases. In 1834, the Mexican government passed a law that allowed them to secularize the missions. This meant the local government could take away all of a mission's lands, herds, and buildings and keep the money when these things were sold. Because of all their difficulties trying to stay open, Santa Cruz Mission was one of the first missions to be closed by the Mexican government. The Holy Cross Catholic Church in the Relinquery. Holy Cross Church was built on the exact site of the original adobe church of Santa Cruz Mission, but this newer church was not built to resemble the original. The Relinquery, built nearby as a half-size replica of the original church, has a small chapel and visitor center with displays of historic items. Both buildings are within easy walking distance of the state park.